Hi guys, welcome to the Grapplers Academy. This week, the theme we're going to be looking at shoulder locks. More specifically, we're going to be looking at breaking down the Kimura. Saturday's episode, we're going to be discussing more along the lines of technical errors you may come across and ways to get around it with myself and Bonn. But today, we're going to be breaking down a Kimura from Jacare, from 2005 ADCC. So Nogi, clearly. What did you think of this Kimura? We watched it, Bon.
It's a nice, quick little match, isn't it? It's a quick setup and a nice finish. We were talking about it just before we started recording today, but it's kind of one of those classic MMA style finishes of the
Yeah,
Kimura from side control, isn't it? Like, generally tend to see that quite a lot in MMA just because of the points of control and the striking. But yeah, kind of a good example of it again today where Jacare's got a good pin from side control, pins the arm and starts to set it up. And it's a nice little finish. It doesn't look like a very comfortable finish to be on the receiving end of,
no,
um, as most Kimuras aren't, especially if you've not got the most flexible shoulders like a couple of people that I know in the gym. But yeah, I do like a good Kimura. It's probably one of my favourite submissions, so I always like to see a good Kimura pulled off in competition.
no, nice. Yeah, I was about to say, was going to attempt to say his opponent's name, but we just stick to David. Like, I don't want to say it wrong and upset somebody, so I'd rather just stick to his first name, Jacare versus David. But yeah, what we'll do, we'll line the submission up, we'll watch through it, and then we'll go through and break it down. Yeah, sorry, slight technical issue there, but we're back now. We were just discussing sort of the way Jacare hid the arm underneath his opponent's body, and he's ready to pass the guard now to essentially put the finish on. As we can see, sort of once he's got himself in a position where he feels nice and secure, his knees free to the pass is going to be a little bit easier, and he ends up getting himself in quite a high position on his opponent's body. Now, for me, the only reason I could think maybe for this is to keep the chest pinned down and to minimize the risk of being re-guarded again. So then which he starts to step over the head, and then he just rips the arm up the back of his opponent, waiting for the inevitable tap at this point. And then from there, gets the tap on an unwilling opponent.
Quite interesting that he's actually able to get the finish from that position there, isn't it? Because typically I, in that position, would like to step over the head. And like we talked about in the Josh Barnett versus Dean Lister match, which was one of the first matches that we reviewed, we talked about the importance of clamping the body with the legs and keeping your opponent on the side to be able to generate enough torque. His opponent's back's fairly flat here, isn't it, where he's actually getting the finish. And the thing that enables him to get it is how much he's lifted up off the floor and able to tuck his hand in underneath to get the finish. But yeah, I was quite surprised. Clearly, he was looking for the step over, but the mechanics of it wasn't happening on this occasion, was it?
No.
It's just quite interesting that he's able to get an effective finish from me.
Yeah, like he's got no base there, so it's almost like if his opponent decided to sort of sit up, he'd probably get reversed. So yeah, I think it's quite an interesting position for him to get the finish on, but he's also running while he's applying that torque on the shoulder, isn't he? So it might be in the reason.
That's probably the thing that's stopping him from sitting up, isn't it? And being out, because that, as you say, is probably the only area of pressure going in the opposite direction from what he's rotating the shoulder that's going on there. Nice finish. Maybe the guy's not got ultra flexible shoulders. Some people will definitely tap earlier than others to Kimura's.
Oh yeah.
And some people will take a hell of a long time to tap. There's a couple of girls in particular in our gym who've got unbelievably flexible shoulders. It kind of gets to the point where they should be tapping, and I kind of just let go in case anything bad happens.
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's fine, carry on.
You don't want to be that person that sort of ripped someone's shoulder out going, you should have tapped.
No, I'm not saying that I'm going to do that. I'm just saying it's surprising the level of flexibility that they've got in the shoulder, especially when I put it in reference to how flexible my shoulders are, which are incredibly unflexible.
No, yeah, I think that's like the more heavyweight curse in it. Sort of the bigger you are, you sort of sacrifice that mobility and flexibility in your shoulders. But that's it. Rather have a set of these.
Yeah. I mean, I probably should go and watch what your mobility video that you put up on the channel the other week. So if anyone's got really terrible shoulder mobility and finding themselves getting Kimura'd often, go and watch the mobility videos that we put up on the Grapplers Academy YouTube.
Yeah,
that's going to help you improve your resistance to tap into Kimura's, definitely. Or
a few more seconds.
Yeah, buy you a few more seconds. Get better at jiu-jitsu first before relying on your flexibility to get you out of a submission. But it's also going to help being more flexible. Yeah.
But no, thank you for tuning in for this one, guys. The next episode, we're going to be looking at the Kimura in a bit more detail. Sort of just discussing a few like I said, the technical differences between the grips, a few different issues you may come across and ways to get around them. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you on Saturday.